4 months, 120 days, 2,880 hours. That's how long you're going to live aboard us Arleigh Burke, Deg 51, without setting foot on land, without seeing your family, without sleeping in a bed that doesn't move, without eating a meal that wasn't prepared in an industrial galley, without privacy, personal space, or any break from the constant noise, motion, and operational tempo of a warship at sea. And you're not alone. 320 sailors are packed aboard a ship 505 feet long and 66 feet wide. That's approximately 33,000 square feet of total area, including all the machinery spaces, weapons compartments, and operational areas that humans can't live in. Subtract those, and you're left with maybe 10,000 square feet of actual berthing and common spaces. For 320 people. For 4 months. Do the math. That's 31 square feet per person. Less space than a prison cell. Except prison cells don't pitch and roll in heavy seas. Prison cells don't operate in combat zones where hostile forces are actively trying to sink you. And prisoners get to go outside. You don't. Once the destroyer gets underway and enters the deep ocean, your entire world becomes steel bulkheads, fluorescent lighting, and 319 other sailors packed into spaces designed during the Cold War when habitability meant doesn't immediately kill the crew. So how do destroyer sailors actually survive this? How do they eat when the mess deck has seating for maybe 100 and meal service must somehow accommodate 320 people? How do they sleep when berthing compartments are packed tighter than commercial airlines and machinery noise is constant? How do they maintain hygiene when 60 sailors share 6 showers? How do they stay sane when the ship operates 24/7 in a battle rhythm that never acknowledges human needs for rest, privacy, or personal time? And most importantly, how do they do this for 4 months, then come home for 2 months, then deploy again for another 4 months, year after year, career after career, maintaining the operational readiness that makes American destroyers the most capable surface combatants on Earth? The adaptations are brutal, ingenious, absolutely necessary, and completely unknown to the 99% of Americans who've never stepped aboard a Navy warship. Seaman Johnson reports aboard us Arleigh Burke for his first deployment. He's 19 years old. Joined the Navy 8 months ago, completed basic training and A school, and now he's being shown to his berthing compartment, his home for the next 4 months. The compartment is located on the second deck, deep within the ship. No windows, no natural light. Racks, the Navy term for beds, stacked 3 high in tight rows. Each rack measures approximately 6 feet long, 2.5 feet wide, and 18 inches high. That's his personal space. That's where he'll sleep, store his belongings, spend his off-watch time, and exist when he's not actively working. 18 inches of vertical clearance. Climb into your rack, and you can touch the rack above you without straightening your elbow. Roll over wrong, and you'll smash your face into the rack frame. Sit up suddenly after waking, and you'll crack your skull on the rack above with enough force to see stars. And you share the berthing compartment with 59 other junior enlisted sailors. 60 racks arranged in tight columns filling every available space. The aisles between rack columns are maybe 30 inches wide. If someone is sitting on their rack with their legs extended into the aisle, and they will be because there's nowhere else to sit, you're stepping over them to get past. Watches rotate 24/7, which means people are waking up, getting dressed, leaving for watch, or returning from watch at all hours. The berthing lights are on during working hours, roughly 0600-2200. During quiet hours, the main lights dim, but individual rack lights remain on because people are reading, using tablets, or preparing for watch. The curtain that separates your rack from the berthing compartment is thin fabric that blocks visibility, but not light. The noise never stops. The ventilation systems produce constant white noise. Machinery directly below or above berthing compartments creates vibration that transmits through the hull. Sailors talk. Always. Someone is always awake, always having a conversation. The 1MC announcing system makes announcements that blast through speakers in every compartment. Sweepers, sweepers, man your brooms. Make a clean sweep down fore and aft. All hands shift into the uniform of the day. General quarters, general quarters. All hands man your battle stations. And every 6 hours, watches change. 60 sailors in your berthing compartment, divided into multiple watch sections, all getting up or returning at different times. Locker doors slamming, people climbing into and out of racks, conversations about watch reliefs. It never ends. That thin fabric curtain is the only privacy you'll experience for 4 months. When the curtain is closed, the cultural understanding is that you're off limits unless there's an emergency. Sailors respect the closed curtain because they depend on others respecting theirs. Inside your rack, you create your world. Photos of family taped to every surface. LED lights, purchased before deployment, providing customized illumination because the built-in rack light is harsh and dim. A tablet or phone loaded with movies, TV shows, music, books, letters from home. Everything that makes the rack feel like home rather than a coffin. And you develop the ability to sleep through anything. Through announcements. Through conversations 3 feet away. Through machinery noise that would keep civilians awake for days. Through the ship's motion. Pitching. Rolling. Sometimes heaving in heavy seas. You learn to wedge yourself into position so rolling motion doesn't throw you against the rack sides. You wear earplugs. You use sleep masks. And you train your brain to shut down regardless of external stimuli, because sleep is precious and you're not getting enough of it. For 4 months, this rack is your bedroom, your personal space, your sanctuary. You stop comparing it to civilian accommodations. You stop thinking about real beds, bedrooms, houses. This becomes your normal. And when you return home after deployment, your actual bedroom feels weirdly spacious and unsettlingly quiet. The berthing compartment Johnson lives in has an attached head, bathroom facilities, shared by the 60 sailors in that berthing. The head consists of 6 toilets and stalls with doors, actual privacy. 6 sinks with mirrors in a communal area. 6 showers with curtains. Those numbers seem reasonable until you remember that all 60 sailors need to use these facilities, and many are on similar watch schedules requiring them to wake, shower, and prepare for watch at the same times. Reveille sounds at 060. Immediately, 40 sailors wake simultaneously, those on day work schedules, and those preparing for morning watch rotations. They all need to shower, shave, brush teeth, and dress before quarters at 0700 or watch relief at 0630. 6 showers for 40 people. You do the math. If everyone took a 10-minute shower, the last person wouldn't shower for over an hour. But there aren't luxurious 10-minute showers on destroyers. There are Navy showers, a 3-minute routine perfected over decades. 1. Water on, 30-second, get wet rapidly. 2. Water off. Soap up your entire body while no water flows. 3. Water on. Minute. Rinse off completely. Fast. Total water time, 2.5 minutes. Total shower time, including soaping while water is off, maybe 5 minutes. And if you take longer, sailors waiting in line will bang on the shower stall and shout creative insults about your parentage and personal hygiene habits. So sailors develop strategies. Wake earlier than necessary to beat the morning rush. Some sailors wake at 0500, an hour before reveille, specifically to shower without waiting in line. Others shower at night before sleeping, accepting that they'll be slightly less fresh in the morning, but avoiding the morning chaos. The sink shower. When showers are completely occupied and you need to get clean, you strip to waist, stand at a sink, and wash using soap and sink water. It's not ideal. It works. and it's faster than waiting for an open shower. The baby wipe alternative: many sailors keep packages of baby wipes in their racks. When time is short or showers are unavailable, a baby wipe shower hitting critical areas is better than nothing. And they simply accept reduced hygiene standards. On land, you'd shower daily without question. At sea, you might shower every other day or every third day, depending on work schedules and head availability. You develop tolerance for your own body odor and that of your shipmates. The berthing compartment acquires a distinctive smell, a combination of sweat, salt air, industrial cleaning products, and dozens of men living in close proximity. New sailors notice it intensely. Veterans stop smelling it within a week. The toilets are more straightforward, but present their own challenges. The stalls provide actual privacy, a rarity aboard ship. But the toilets themselves are vacuum-assisted systems that produce startlingly loud flushing noises. And when the ship is pitching heavily in rough seas, using a toilet requires balance and timing to avoid embarrassing accidents. The sinks become multi-purpose facilities. Shaving, toothbrushing, face washing, uniform prep, sailors using sinks to dampen and press uniform creases. The mirrors are constantly fogged from shower steam and packed with sailors attempting to shave and conduct hygiene while standing shoulder to shoulder with 5 other people. The mess deck is the eating area. One space, maybe 2,000 square feet, with tables and attached bench seating for approximately 100 people. And somehow, this space must serve 3 meals daily to 320 sailors. The galley, kitchen, is adjacent, operated by 12-15 culinary specialists working in shifts to produce. Breakfast €05.30 €07.30. Lunch €10.30 €13. Dinner €16.30 €19. Midrats €23.001 for watchstanders. The food is prepared in industrial quantities using recipes, designed for mass production. On a good day, the food is decent, nutritious, filling, with enough variety that you can find something palatable. On a bad day, it's institutional cuisine that tastes like cardboard and has the texture of rubber. But the real challenge isn't food quality, it's logistics. Meal service requires 3-4 complete turnovers to feed everyone. The mess deck seats 100. There are 320 people aboard. Everyone needs to eat. The line forms in the passageway outside the mess deck and extends throughout the ship, sometimes 50-75 people waiting for access. During peak meal times, especially lunch, when most sailors are off watch, you might wait 30-45 minutes just to reach the serving line. Then you move through the line receiving portions from culinary specialists who dish food with practiced efficiency. No substitutions. No special orders. You get what's being served in the portions they determine. Then, you search for a seat. During peak times, every seat is occupied. Sailors are standing along walls eating, trays balanced in one hand. Others take food back to their workspaces, technically not authorized, but universally practiced. Some eat quickly and leave to make room for others still waiting. Off-peak eating, come to meals early or late to avoid crowds. Breakfast at 05:45 before the main rush. Lunch at 12:45 when most people have already eaten. Dinner at 16:40 right when service starts. Trading slight inconvenience for avoiding 45-minute waits in line. The rapid consumption method. Eat quickly. Shovel food. Don't savor, don't linger. Consume calories and clear your seat so others can eat. Many sailors finish meals in under 10 minutes, a habit so ingrained that when they return home, family members comment that they eat too fast. The tactical approach. Scout the mess deck before getting food. Identify open seats. Have a plan for where you'll sit. Move decisively when opportunity presents. Hesitate, and you lose the seat to someone more aggressive. Stateroom/workspace dining. Senior enlisted and officers have small staterooms or workspaces where they can eat privately. They often take food to go, eating at desks while working. Junior sailors don't have this option. They eat in the mess deck or standing in passageways. The food stash. Almost every sailor maintains personal food supplies in their rack. Snacks purchased before deployment. Care packages from home. Energy drinks. Protein bars. ramen noodles that can be prepared with hot water from the mess deck. These stashes supplement official meals and provide comfort food when galley offerings are unappetizing. The destroyer loads provisions before deployment, enough food for 320 people for 4 months. Fresh produce, freshies in Navy terminology, last maybe 2 weeks before being consumed or spoiling. After that, everything is frozen, canned, or dried. By month 3 of a 4-month deployment, the menu becomes monotonous. The same meals rotating on a cycle. Morale dips as everyone tires of eating the same dishes repeatedly. Culinary specialists try to create variety, but they're limited by available ingredients. And then the destroyer pulls into port for a brief resupply. Fresh produce arrives. Fresh milk. Bread. Meat that isn't frozen. The first meal after resupply, called Freshie Day, is celebrated like a holiday. Sailors line up early for meals featuring fresh ingredients. Morale surges temporarily before the fresh supplies are consumed again, and the cycle repeats. The destroyer operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Engines always running. Radars always scanning. Weapons always ready. And this requires constant human supervision. Seaman Johnson is assigned to the operations department. His watch station is in the Combat Information Center, SIC, the darkened space filled with radar displays, communication systems, and weapons control stations where the ship's combat operations are coordinated. His watch rotation is 5-section duty. He stands watch 1 day in 5, with the watch lasting 6 hours. Sounds manageable until you understand what this actually means for his schedule. Day 1. Stand watch 0800-1400. Then work regular duties from 1400 until whenever his division releases him, usually 1700 but often later. Total workday, 11 plus hours. Day 2-5, work regular day schedule 0700-1700 10 hour, plus cleaning stations, drills, training, and additional duties that extend the day to 12-13 hours regularly. Then the cycle repeats. Forever, for 4 months. And that's a good rotation. Some departments operate on 4-section duty, standing watch every 4th day. Some watchstanders are on 3-section duty, standing watch every 3rd day, sometimes standing 2 watches in 24 hours. You're working 12-14 hours daily. You're sleeping in a noisy rack with constant interruptions. You're eating when you can fit meals into the work schedule. You're never fully rested. Never caught up on sleep. The fatigue accumulates over weeks and months until exhaustion becomes your baseline state. The Navy has crew rest policies mandating minimum sleep between watches and work periods. These policies are frequently waived during high operational tempo. The mission comes first isn't just a slogan, it's reality. When the destroyer is conducting operations requiring maximum crew availability, sleep becomes a luxury sacrificed for mission requirements. Sailors develop survival strategies. The power nap, the ability to fall asleep instantly whenever a few minutes are available, sitting in a chair, waiting for a meeting. During a lunch break, any opportunity to close your eyes and rest is utilized. Caffeine dependency. Coffee is consumed in quantities that would alarm doctors. Energy drinks are stockpiled in racks. Caffeine tablets are used before watch. Sailors joke that Navy ships run on coffee and desperation. It's not really a joke. The watch qualification obsession, junior sailors are constantly qualifying for watch stations, demonstrating competency to supervisors who sign off on qualification cards. This provides purpose beyond the monotony of daily routine and offers opportunities for advancement. But it also adds to the workload, studying during off-watch hours, standing watch under instruction, and completing practical factors while maintaining regular work duties. After weeks or months at sea, the destroyer pulls into a foreign port, maybe Singapore, maybe Dubai, maybe Yokosuka, Japan. The ship needs fuel, supplies, and maintenance. The crew needs psychological relief from continuous sea operations. Liberty Call is announced. Sailors who aren't on duty are authorized to go ashore. For 12-24 hours, they escape the ship, eat at real restaurants, sleep in hotel rooms. Experience life beyond steel bulkheads. The experience is surreal. walking on surfaces that don't move, sleeping in beds that don't vibrate from machinery, eating food that wasn't prepared in industrial quantities, having privacy and personal space, using bathrooms without waiting in line. But port calls are brief, usually 3-5 days. Half the crew stands duty each day, remaining aboard to maintain security and operations. By the time everyone gets a day ashore, it's time to get underway again. And returning to sea after port call is psychologically challenging. You've experienced normal life. You've remembered what civilization feels like. And now you're back in the cramped, noisy, exhausting environment of the destroyer. The adjustment is brutal every time. 4 months at sea isn't sustainable indefinitely without psychological casualties. Most sailors adapt and cope. Some don't. Depression manifests. Anxiety disorders emerge. Some sailors develop claustrophobia that didn't exist before deployment. Others experience anger issues, snapping at shipmates, getting into conflicts, struggling with emotional regulation in an environment that demands constant control. The ship has limited mental health resources. A corpsman with basic psychological training. Telehealth consultations with shore-based psychologists when satellite communications permit. Medication for serious cases. But fundamentally, sailors must manage their own mental health with peer support and personal coping mechanisms. The more severe cases get evacuated, medical evacuation, medevac, by helicopter to shore facilities where they receive appropriate treatment. These evacuations are rare because the threshold is high. But they happen. And when a sailor is medevaced for psychological reasons, it's a reminder to everyone else that the environment is genuinely challenging. Most sailors don't reach breaking points. They cope through. Social connections. Building friendships with shipmates who understand exactly what you're experiencing. The berthing compartment becomes a community. Your watch section becomes family. These relationships provide support that makes the isolation bearable. Communication with home. When the ship has satellite connectivity, sailors can send and receive emails, make brief phone calls, even video chat with family. These connections to home provide psychological anchors. But communication is limited and expensive. Satellite time is finite and shared among 320 sailors. Deployment countdowns. Every sailor knows exactly how many days remain until homecoming. The count displayed in berthing compartments. Discussed constantly. How many days left? 73 and a wake-up. The countdown makes the deployment finite. No matter how difficult today is, you're 1 day closer to home. Humor and pranks. Destroyer life is filled with humor. Pranks on shipmates. Inside jokes that build over deployment. Humor about the conditions, the work, the ship itself. Laughter diffuses tension and builds camaraderie. After 120 days at sea, the destroyer returns home. The crew sees land. Then, familiar landmarks. Then the pier where families are waiting. The ship moors. Lines secured. Brow lowered. And 320 sailors who've lived in cramped spaces, eaten institutional food, worked exhausting schedules, and survived 4 months away from everything familiar finally go home. The reunions are emotional. Spouses, children, parents waiting on the pier. Sailors who maintained composure for 4 months break down crying when they finally hug their kids. The relief, the joy, the overwhelming sensation of being done, it's indescribable to anyone who hasn't experienced it. And despite everything, the cramped racks, the crowded mess deck, the exhausting work schedules, the lack of privacy, the isolation, the psychological strain, most sailors re-enlist. They volunteer to deploy again. To do it all over. Why? Because the mission matters. Because destroyer operations protect American interests. Because sailors take pride in operating the most sophisticated surface combatants on Earth. Because the bonds formed at sea are deeper than civilian friendships. Because they're professionals who choose to endure hardship in service to something larger than themselves. Right now, American destroyers are operating around the world. In the Arabian Gulf, providing presence and protecting shipping lanes. In the Mediterranean, maintaining readiness and supporting operations. In the Pacific, conducting freedom of navigation operations and deterring adversary aggression. And aboard those destroyers, sailors are living in racks 18 inches high, waiting in line for showers, eating meals in crowded mess decks, working 12 14-hour days in watch rotations that never end, missing birthdays, anniversaries, holidays with family, enduring conditions that most Americans would find intolerable. They're not complaining, they volunteered, they're professionals executing the mission, and they're maintaining the destroyer force that provides American naval presence globally, projecting power, defending interests, and deterring adversaries from actions that would threaten American security. The price is paid in cramped living spaces, exhausting work schedules, prolonged separation from family, and psychological strain that accumulates over months. And sailors pay that price willingly because someone must crew the destroyers, and they've accepted the responsibility. Type respect for destroyer sailors if you appreciate what these sailors endure during deployments. Hit that like button if you learned about destroyer living conditions you never knew existed. Share this with anyone who doesn't understand what military service costs. The personal sacrifices, the difficult conditions, the dedication required to maintain American naval power. And if you've served aboard destroyers, if you've slept in those racks and eaten in those mess decks and stood those watches, know that your service matters even if most Americans never understand what you endured. 4 months at sea aboard a destroyer requires adaptations that civilians rarely imagine. Sleeping in racks with 18 inches of clearance, sharing bathrooms with 60 other people, eating in crowds, working exhausting schedules, living without privacy or personal space, and destroyer sailors make it work. Through discipline, adaptation, mutual support, humor, and sheer determination. They survive conditions that would break many people. They maintain operational readiness that makes American destroyers the most capable surface combatants afloat. That's not just endurance. That's professionalism at the highest level. That's American sailors doing what's necessary to maintain the naval power that protects American interests globally. And it's happening right now, on destroyers deployed worldwide, with sailors adapting, enduring, and executing the mission regardless of personal cost. That's how destroyer sailors eat, sleep, and survive for 4 months at sea. That's the reality behind the hull numbers. That's American naval service at its most demanding and most essential.